All right, man. So it's been, people probably don't know. I know you. What we go back, shoot, 15, 16, maybe even 7, maybe 20 years.
What
You
do you
you're getting
mean?
you're getting young. You're getting
Maybe 20.
young.
I,
You're
I
getting
haven't
young,
lived in
Rob.
I haven't lived in Detroit in 9 years. So it ain't no, you were at my going away
Wow.
party. So it ain't no 15
9
years.
years.
I've known you
That's
for way
crazy.
longer than that, like close to since we opened the barbershop 23 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Tico if he's watching, if he watches this
Sporty
episode.
Cuts on 7 Mile and
Sporty
How to
cut.
Drive. 23 years
7 Mile.
strong, man. Come on.
Can't beat it. Can't
Nah.
beat it. Do you keep in touch with everyone over there or no?
Yeah. I mean, I'm co-own the place. You know what I mean? I try to get there, see people three
I
times a
thought you
year.
sold. I thought you sold your steak.
No, never.
Oh,
The
okay.
barbershop? Nah, that's forever. You don't give up a barbershop, especially the one that we've established. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm bald now, so that's why I don't go.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So let's get into it. I wanted to talk to you and pick your brain on the latest things going on in the sports world. This is what you do on a daily basis. Um, Travis Hunter, this guy, Travis Hunter. What is going on with this guy
I,
and this girl, man? I mean,
I think people are out of pocket. What I don't understand is people trying to tell somebody who's right or wrong for them when they don't know the dynamics, they don't know you know what I mean? Like you're just watching an Instagram story or a clip and you think you know everything about somebody and their relationship. I just think it's out of bounds. Like, who's to say who's right for somebody, wrong for somebody? I just like you could look at the clip and maybe say that wouldn't be somebody that would be for me, right? But you really don't know what the behind the scenes story is, what makes people click. You see people all the time. They don't look like they go together. They look like they're opposite or they don't look like, and you don't know what it is that they have between them. You know what I mean? That makes their connection.
yeah, but
And
Rob, this guy is what, 19 years old? How old is he? 18? He's not
no,
20, something like that.
yeah,
20.
20 years old or so. Yeah. I don't know what you
Now,
want.
you
I don't,
remember when you were 20?
Yeah, but he's been with her for like 5 years. So for him, she might be a
Horrible, man.
safe. Nah, I mean, you could disagree and say go get somebody else, but you don't know if they're really for him.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying go get someone else. I'm saying don't have anyone. You're
I
just
mean,
you're just
that's
about to
love.
get started.
There's difference. I agree. You should wait. I think it's smart to wait. I didn't get married till I was 33. Right? Okay, that's old in the game to me. And I took
Yeah,
my
that's pretty.
time, and I was a bachelor for a long time, and I did what I wanted to do. And that's the way I looked at it. I'm with you. It doesn't seem like you should be locked into a relationship so young, but there's a Romeo and Juliet. I'm just saying, like, there are people who that's what they want in their lives. You don't know what their family lives were. Maybe they didn't have anything like that when they were kids growing up. And so the first thing they want to have is their own family. You know what I mean? Like, I can't explain it because I wouldn't want to be involved in that. So
You're in the sports world. You know how these male gigolos are. These guys can't control themselves, and it's the temptation really is too high, in my opinion, to even
well,
get
they,
married
they
while
have
you're playing.
they have more options than most guys. And that's, people always, I hear people say, oh, these guys are doing this and that. Well, Joe Blow is a bus driver and maybe doesn't have the same options as somebody who's around a lot of different women and he has money and a fast car and all this other stuff that attracts women, and he's an
Exactly.
athlete. So it's easy to say you wouldn't be doing this or you would just have one girl and this and that. Well, maybe your options aren't the same. Some people do just like one girl. I understand that. And then there are other people who enjoy.
That's because their options, they don't have the options.
Uh, I agree. I'm with
At
you.
least as a young man. Now, as you get older, you slowing down. You're starting to think about your legacy and who you gonna leave stuff to and all that good stuff. I
Right.
understand. I'm saying as a 21-year-old with millions and famous, nah.
Yeah. But also, I'm to play the other side is what's happened to a lot of athletes too is they run out there and with the fast women and all the other stuff, and they wind up getting taken, because they don't know people prior to their success. And that's why if you looked at a lot of NBA players, a lot of those guys went back and married their high school girlfriends and stuff, and the girls from the neighborhood, only from the standpoint that they know this person was with them when they didn't have a dime, even though they have money now. And you don't know who's out there, who's coming off as genuine, but they already have mapped you out, scoped you out, figured it out. Guys, you see some NBA players with 3 and 4 kids, all these different women. That's money that you're going to have to pay for the next 18 years. And it ain't oftentimes it's not by happenstance. You know what I mean? It's set up, it's planned.
Yeah, you don't want to do it.
Sean Kemp, yeah, what do you have, like 13 kids?
Yeah.
I just couldn't even imagine, like, Sean, there's a thing called the movies, right? I'm just saying.
Man, Sean Kemp, shout out to Sean Kemp, man. That boy, 13 kids, good God Almighty. But with this Travis Hunter kid, I'm hearing like there's some videos surfacing of his girl out with some other dude, and I'm just wondering if the best thing for him, and what would be your advice to him? Let's see what Rob Parker's advice to Travis Hunter would be in a scenario where you just became the Heisman Trophy winner. You want to stay focused, you want to stay locked in. It is what season is he at in Colorado?
Oh, he's done. Well, he's going to go to the NFL.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's done. Okay, so right. He's about to lock in. What would be your advice to him to stay as focused as possible going into the
have people around you who you really trust, who know you, not newcomers. Like seriously, there are going to be a lot of newcomers, people trying to latch on. Like the people who were there way before you became a star, or the people who you have a better shot at having your best interests at hand, and not just yes men. That's another problem. You don't want yes men around you. You want people who will be able to pull you by the collar and say, dude, don't do this, man. You're going to put yourself in a bad spot, or whatever it may be. And nothing's foolproof. People around you, family members, they do their own dirt. They've done their stuff. You know what I mean? The family members hurt,
of course,
people. So
families be the biggest issue for you, right?
That's what I'm saying. So there's that's a part of it as well. But keep your circle small, around people you can trust and people who you respect and would listen to if they really wanted to tell you something that you need to hear. Not that you want to hear, but you need to hear. And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I hear you, man. It's just so crazy. These kids are with these what do you call it? NIL, is that what it's called?
NIL,
these deals
yeah.
they're able to get now. They're making millions in college, which I'm for, actually. I don't know
how
you feel about that.
They've been taken advantage of for a long time, and they were never getting any money, and the coaches and the schools were raking in all the money. That's why I laugh at people who are mad at them for getting money. Like, these TV deals.
That's the biggest pimp game I've ever seen in my life.
It's organized crime, and it was for a long time. Organized crime, and they like the college basketball signed a $6 billion deal with CBS. And if you were an NBA and a college player and you took a free pizza, they wanted to kick you out of college, and act like you did something wrong. They selling your jersey in the gift shop for $60 with your name on the back, and then telling you can't get any of that. Or the college football video games, they were using the player's likeness and not giving them any money. Like,
isn't that crazy?
And then be like, oh no, that's not you. That's somebody
college.
else. But it's Michigan, right? And the number that you wore, right, in the years that you played in your position, but they're telling you that ain't you, right?
Crazy.
They closed down the college video football game rather than paid people. They closed it down, and now they brought it back. They're getting these poor players to sign away their lives for like $50,000 for no money, for like $5,000 in a free game. Can you imagine that some kids are signing in to allow them to use them in a video game, and these people are making millions of dollars?
Oh, so that's the deal now?
That's how they got it back. Yeah, that's how they got it back. They're offering them like $5,000 in a free game.
Are you serious?
And people are signing.
So what happens if you decide not to sign? You say, I want more than that.
No, then they got to use something else. You know what I mean? They can't use your likeness. It's crazy. Crazy.
Wow. That needs to change. That part. That's still predatory in my opinion.
Oh yeah. The whole system is set up. Coaches making $1 gazillion, and for a long time, the college basketball coaches are wearing Nikes, and they have the Nike deal, but the coaches don't wear the sneakers. The kids wear them in the game, but the coach gets millions of dollars from Nike. And then these same coaches, oh, I don't like the way the game is now. I'm retiring. I'm getting out of it. Why? Because the kids are getting a piece. All of a sudden, they don't like it because they don't have as much control over college basketball, especially overcoached, over officiated. These coaches have the iron rule because people think you get a 4-year scholarship ride to Michigan State and it's locked in. You know it's not locked in. Every year they have to agree to continue it, and they could cancel it at any time. So that's why the coach, everybody think, oh, you got a 4-year scholarship. It ain't. And what a lot of times, if you haven't played up to par or whatever, they'll run you off the program, run you out of the program. And now this has changed everything. Now that kids can leave with the transfer portal. So it's nice. Balanced out everything. And the kids now have real power. And I have no issue with it. Coaches walk out on the kids all the time.
That's true. That's true. I did not know that. You taught me something new there today about the 4-year college scholarship thing. I always thought it was a 4-year scholarship. Boom, you're Gucci. And then only way you can get out of it is you do some misconduct stuff, you know?
No,
but that's not
you don't play
performance based. That's
no.
crazy. How long has this been like that? It's been like that forever?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Everybody think, oh, he got a 4-year scholarship at Michigan State. No, it's got to be renewed every year. It ain't automatic.
Damn. I did not know that. So let's move from college to the NBA. Now, you know, I really don't keep up with the sports like I used to, Rob, ever since I got into crypto. But I guess I'm not the only one. the NBA ratings down the drain. What is it down?
48% since 2012.
48%. We in a state of crisis.
I know it was funny too. Last night, the NBA's Christmas Day used to be the NBA's like unofficial start of the season. They have 5 games and people are at home with the family and they watch basketball the whole day. And then the NBA, of course, the NFL decided they're going to take over Christmas. So now they have games. And so the NBA's ratings haven't been great even on Christmas because of the NFL games. And last night, LeBron went out of his way to make a speech about, I love the NFL, but, this is our day or whatever. And Kevin Durant had similar comments. That all sounds good and nice. And there was some really good games. But the market exactly dictates what's happening here in the ratings. And when the ratings come out, the NFL games will be better than the NBA games, even though there were some good NBA games yesterday. Here's the problem. It's the aesthetics and the style of play that have turned people off to the NBA. All of the three-pointers. There have been games this year where there have been a combined missed, not made, missed 75 three-pointers. Missed. In a game.
Are you serious?
Who wants to watch that? And that is where the problem lies, is that the game is.
So we got to blame Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, and you could go look up on Fox Sports Radio's YouTube. I said this 7 years ago that he ruined the NBA. And he ruined the NBA from the standpoint that he was making such ridiculous threes that everybody started to think everybody's a three-point shooter. And the analytics, the guys who haven't played, they always believe a 3-point shot is always going to be better than a 2-point shot. Obviously, you get 3 points compared to 2. So they're like, well, let the other guy shoot 2s. We'll shoot 3 and we'll always win. And the team normally that makes the most 3s wins. The only problem is everybody's not prolific at shooting 3s. So now we have a terrible looking game. I've been covering the NBA since 1987, okay? So long. And I'm talking about not watching. I was a reporter in New York covering the New Jersey Nets in 1987. I used to fly commercial with the players to games all over the country. They didn't have private planes, any of that. I used to ride on the team buses back in the 80s. That's what it was like to cover the NBA. So I have a long history with the league. And I used to watch, I worked in Detroit for 20 years. That 2004 Pistons team, there was nothing better than that. You know what I'm talking about. That was must see every freaking night. I went to every game, traveled on the road with that team.
Man, that was the team, boy.
Right. That was just fun basketball. They used to get defensive stops and make big plays, and everybody just wasn't one day it would be Tayshaun, one day it would be Big Ben, one day it'd be Rashid, one day Rip, Chauncey. It was just a team. And they had an identity, and teams don't have identities anymore. Everybody's the same. If you played the Pistons, you knew, dude, they play defense.
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you this then. Since so we're gonna blame Steph for ruining the flow of the game, can we blame LeBron for ruining the identity of the game?
Well, I think LeBron has his hands on it as well.
I know that's your favorite player.
Yes, not. It's just that, with the super team era with LeBron, I think that threw the league for a loop. But it's also Greg Popovich deserves some blame with the load management that he was running with the San Antonio Spurs, not playing players, and then other star players. That turned a lot of people off. I mean, you imagine you spending money.
Exactly.
2 years ago, my brother and a couple of nephews came to LA, and they wanted to go to a Lakers game, and we went out to dinner and the whole 9 yards. I spent $2,000 for 4 tickets. $2,000. And when you buy your tickets, you're not sure the stars are going to play. They might be resting. It's one thing if somebody's hurt. You understand the risk, right? You buy tickets, somebody's hurt, they might not play. But the idea that somebody's not playing just because they want to take a rest day, and I done forked over $2,000 for tickets, that will turn people off from wanting to go or buy tickets. And I think that's what the NBA was hurt by, the load management. They're hurt by the aesthetics and the 3-point shot. They're hurt by guys teaming up with each other, making a super team where you're a city, you have a star player, and the guy bounces on you. You're New Orleans. Look how bad they are. Anthony Davis decides, I want to go to LA and play with LeBron, and there's nothing fans can do. So there are a lot of issues. And I think Adam Silver has been a bad commissioner and has let the players. Yeah,
I don't even watch sports, and I know he's horrible. Yeah.
Just that's where the league is, and that's why there's a lot of issues.
And to me, this may be controversial. I think that them getting into the identity politics side of stuff, like leave the politics alone, leave all that extra stuff alone. Just play sports, play basketball, and leave it at that. I think LeBron, him opining on this candidate and that candidate in the presidential election it's not a good look, man.
Yeah, I still think I hear you. There are people who are in your camp. I still think it's about the quality of the game, because the NFL they sang the Black National Anthem at games. They had Black Lives Matters in the end zone, and people still watched, and still, the numbers were good because of the product. And the NBA, I think if you don't have a good product, then people can use that against you. Baseball last year did very well. And baseball, if you remember a couple of years ago, there was a vote in Georgia that didn't go the way that baseball would have appreciated it, and they took away the All-Star game. But that didn't stop baseball last year. sold over 70 million baseball tickets. 70 million. That's more than the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLS combined.
Oh, wow.
Combined. People don't
Didn't know
know
that.
that. People
Nope.
try to tell you that baseball's dying and all that. It's the biggest win.
Well, Rob, you're the sports guy. Let me know if I'm wrong. Didn't the baseball league change some of their rules?
Right. They did. And that
Okay.
was the
And what did
smart
they
part.
do?
And that's,
Explaining that to the audience.
yeah. So what they did was the games were just running too long. 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has 4 hours today. So what they did was really smart, which I was against originally because I thought they were catering the game to people who don't like baseball. Let's just get it over with, make it fast. I'm like, dude, I've been watching baseball my whole life. Games go long, but what they cut out all of the minutia. So what they did was they have a pitch clock. So a guy can't stand outside the batter's box and rearrange himself and touch himself and stand there forever. And the pitchers can't stand on the mound and just stare a guy down forever. There's a time limit. And now what's happened is it shaved 30 minutes off the game. Games were just fast, and it didn't affect the style of play or the game that I grew up loving. It also implemented where you couldn't shift. At one point, baseball used to let players say you could move all your players from the third base and shortstop side over to first and second. And then a guy couldn't get a hit because if he pulled the ball, there would be a fielder there. So now you can't move your two guys from the left side over to the right or vice versa. They have to stay on their side of the bag. That opens up holes. They also made the bases bigger so that people could steal bases, right? The bases are bigger. The pitcher can only throw over twice. The pitcher can't throw over 10 times trying to stop a guy from wanting to steal. Like that takes time. They
Right.
used to have with relief pitchers, managers got so ridiculous that if there was a rally going on or something in the game, they would have one guy pitch to me, right? Then the manager would walk out, take that pitcher out because you're coming up, and then he'd bring in another pitcher to pitch to you. That takes time for the guy to warm up, for him to come to the mound, right? Warm up again, pitch to you. Then he would come out and get another pitcher for the next guy. So 3 pitchers would pitch to 3 guys, but it would take 30 minutes, between them coming from the bullpen, warming up, getting ready, and then they're only pitching to 1 batter. So then they made it where you have to pitch to 3 batters if you come in. So they did a lot of stuff. And last year, ratings were up, attendance was up, streaming was up amongst the younger people. So they really hit a bonanza. And then last year in the World Series, they had record ratings with the Dodgers and the Yankees. So it was a good year for baseball. So the NBA can't use the excuse that, oh, well, the ratings are down in all sports, because it's not true.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah, I went to my first MLB game here in the city last year. It's been before that. It's been like I don't know 5-6 years, and I enjoyed myself. It like you said, the flow was much faster.
It was faster,
And
right? I went to
yeah,
a Brewers game, Brewers Astros in Milwaukee. This is in the summer. I go on a tour around the country, catch up with friends, and I go to baseball games. And we went to a Brewers game. It was a 2 o'clock. It was a lunchtime special, 12:05 start. The game was over in 2 hours and 5 minutes. So the game was over at 2:10. And me and my buddy looked around like that's it. You know what I mean? Like that was, you go to a ball game, 2 hours is nothing. By the time you get in, grab some food, sit down, watch a couple of, and then we were up, and the final score was like 5-2, so there was some action, and the game was over. So I think that was smart because people
yeah, I
don't
think
have the
so too.
attention span.
Exactly, I agree with you there for sure. So what do you think? We talked about all the problems with the NBA. If you were the commissioner today, because Adam Silver, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be honest with you. If he was black, he wouldn't have lasted. He would have been out of here. But that's a whole nother conversation. But if you were the commissioner today, what would you change to make the NBA better?
I got to do something with the threes. You got to convince people that it's just not good. I don't know what they could do. Baseball did radical changes. Is there a way of saying
A limit on
that?
threes per
Yeah,
quarter?
yeah, a limit on threes, and any threes that you make over the limit, they only count as two. So that would
There you
eliminate it.
go.
You know what I mean? Like you can
That'd be
make
dope.
7 threes, but if you shoot any more than that, they only count as two. And then that'll stop. The mid-range game, how many great players, the Kawhis and people like Kevin Durant, who are mid-range guys, like it's a lost art in the league. And I think that's what we need to get back to. But we need teams that have identities. You had the Lakers, they were Showtime, right? Up and down the court and flashy or whatever. That was great. That was their style. Then you had the Pistons, tough
Bad
defense,
boys. Yep.
bad boys,
Scrapping at the palace.
right. Yeah, back in the day with the Knicks with Ewing and Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason, those guys, they had us.
How do you get that back? That's kind of organic. I don't know how you
No,
can
no.
force that.
Well, but they forced the 3-pointers. It's just you utilize. Okay, this is what I always say why I believe Pat Riley's a really good coach. Because if you look at his two styles that he had, okay, when he took over the Lakers and Showtime, he had the players. Magic is 6'9" point guard, doing unbelievable no-look passes, all that, right? He takes the Knick job. He goes to New York. He doesn't have those kind of players to play that style. So he becomes a more defensive coach, making you earn every basket. So coaches should conform to the personnel that they have. Instead, what they do is they try to force everybody to do what the Warriors have done. Here's a perfect example. In 2014, 2015, the Warriors took 31 threes a game. That was number one in the league. This is 10 years ago. Now, the Toronto Raptors take 31 threes a game. And when the Warriors did it 10 years ago, they were number one in threes. The Toronto Raptors are last in threes. The same number.
Round of applause. Great. Thanks. Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about that. Think about in 10 years. 31 is now last place. That was number one.
It's definitely I can't even watch it. It's boring as hell for me. And I mean, I'm not the best to gauge because again, I'm a tech guy now, crypto bro. But yeah, man, I have no interest in watching this NBA game at all. Especially, I think it hit rock bottom when they let Bronny in.
Well, that was another big controversial thing, and people, a lot of people tried to look the other way, and I think it really has hurt in the idea that, like people have to earn their way on a team. That's what people have respect for. And even the players who are in the league, there's some kid who has put in their time, energy, and all that. And, people try to make excuses. Well, the owners hire their sons and they have nepotism. That ain't out on the court or the field. There's a big difference.
That's blatant nepotism.
Yeah, if you're Jerry Jones and you own the Cowboys, it's a family business. You can hire your family, okay?
Yeah.
Now, it might be a reason why they haven't been to the NFC Championship game in 30 years because they haven't hired the right people, okay? But Jerry Jones never put his son on the team. Michael Jordan owned
crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Michael Jordan had 2 kids who weren't great basketball players. He didn't put them on the Charlotte Hornets, you know what I mean? And said, well, I own the team, put my 2 boys on the end of the bench. Like, he wouldn't disrespect the game like that. And that's what I don't understand why people thought it was okay for LeBron to flex.
It goes back to the top. The commissioner should not have allowed it. Even if they would have, tried to do that, I'm sure there was some process that it had to go through the commissioner.
Well, I'll tell you this. In baseball, years ago, I remember the Oakland A's owner was trying to sell all of his great players to the other teams. He just wanted for cash. And they sold a couple players to the Yankees, sold a couple players to the Red Sox. And the commissioner stepped in and stopped the sales and said it wasn't in the best interest of baseball for the Oakland A's to sell their best players to these teams. And they stopped the sale of the players and would not allow it to happen. So there's got to be a clause for the commissioner not in the best interest of the sport. And if you're going to get to this point and people
I think
sign
David
off,
Stern did that once or twice before, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that
hasn't
was
he?
with
Hasn't he stopped it?
it was Chris Paul, a trade with. Remember, Chris Paul was supposed to go to the Lakers from New Orleans,
Exactly.
and they wouldn't let the
Right.
trade go through because it wasn't in the best interest of basketball.
Yep. So that's the
And
commissioner. That's yet again another bad move on Adam. Another bad move, in my
yeah,
opinion.
no, I'm with you. I've said it many times on my radio show. I think he's the worst commissioner in sports right now. I think he's not taking control. And I understand you want to be a players commissioner, but you can't let the players dictate everything. And I think that's where the NBA lost its way.
So for many years, you were on Skip Bayless's channel. I used to tune in and see you on there sometimes, for sure. An entertaining segment when you were on. What's going on with Skip and Stephen A. and that whole situation? They kind of fell out, huh?
Let's just run its course. That's all. I mean, they were together for a long time, had success, split, and Stephen A. is at the top of the food chain with what's happened in his career, and Skip is done at FS1 because I worked on all three of the debate shows. I was on with Skip on Cold Pizza in the early days of ESPN. I was on that show.
Okay,
I was
don't
on
remember
First
that one.
Take 2005, 6, a long time ago, almost 20 years. So I worked with Skip for a long time. I was on First Take for 6, 7 years, and then I went on Undisputed for 5 years. So I've been on that whole debate, the whole history of debate, sports debate talk, and I know people bash it a lot or whatever, but there's nothing wrong with it when it was being done right. And I think that it served as, and the TV ratings, bore it out, and people watched and cared what people had to say. I think it's over the top now with the same 4 or 5 topics every day, but at one time it was something that people really look forward to. And as a guy, as I told you, who owns a barbershop, that's what people do in barbershops. That's what they debate sports and talk about who's better, this and that, and all the other scenarios. So I thought it was natural in sports. But those guys were friends, really good friends, and they just had a falling out. And who knows, in time, maybe they'll make up and let bygones be bygones, as you realize.
Do you keep in touch with Skip?
I haven't talked to Skip in a while. Stephen A. and I are really close. I helped mentor him when he first started in the business. I've known him since I met Steve in 1992 at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Detroit, where he was trying to become a sports writer. And one of my coworkers brought him over to me by the arm and said, "Hey, this is a guy named Steve Smith from New York, and he wants to be a sports writer." And I told him that he should meet you and that you would help him. And that's how I met him. And we're both from New York, both from Queens. He's from Hollis, Queens, where Run DMC's from, and I'm from Jamaica, Queens. But we've been friends since 1992. I used to read his stories when he used to write high school stories, critique them, send them back, give him advice. I've known him I don't know him from the TV standpoint. I know him as a friend. You know what I mean? As somebody who I've seen develop, and he works really hard and
I remember when you had me doing the website, you had a concept called Sports Bros, I think it was called.
No, ESPN Bro. ESPN Bro. That's what you
ESPN Bro. Yeah.
And I have a baseball website called MLB Bro off of that same concept.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what you got going on nowadays. But I think I remember one time you had a dinner here in the D, and it was like, I wish looking back, I would have appreciated it more. But I think you had like Stephen A. You had all the brothers, man, all the sports columns, the sports guys.
Right.
And it was like, wow, that was powerful. I remember that.
Back in the day, I know.
Who was all there? Stephen A.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Well, because it depends on when it was, but Will Bond, David Aldridge.
Will Bond.
Yeah, all those guys. I mean, that's my era of journalism. We all came up together. We all were in the newspaper business together.
what would you give advice to up and coming kids that are looking to get into journalism, sports journalism specifically? What would you guide them into doing in
Um,
2025?
well, the big thing is you got to really want it and be willing to put in the hard work. I think a lot of people, they see people on TV and just think, oh, that's the job I want. I want to just get on and talk about basketball. That sounds good. That ain't how it works. Everybody, Stephen A, anybody who's doing it, they're either a former athlete or they're a reporter who put in time. You know, like there's a story behind everybody who you see on television or in those roles. Um, and as I told you, I started covering the NBA in 1987. Wasn't I didn't just show up one day and say, "Hey, I know the league. I want to talk about it." And if you're
Mm-hmm.
willing to put in the work and sacrifice and work on the weekends and work at night and all the other stuff, um, it's worthy. As I look at my career, I've been doing it. I'm just started. January 6th will be my 39th year in the business. So it was
Congrats.
39 years ago I got started. I was 21 years old in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, as a high school sports writer, and I was the happiest guy in the world making $15,000 a year to cover high school sports in northeastern Pennsylvania. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't tell me anything. I
Yeah.
just graduated from college. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to be on television or I'm going to have a national radio show with 400 stations around the country. That wasn't what I was thinking about. It was about doing the job that was at hand at that time, which was being the best high school sports writer I could be. And Chris
What
Broussard and everybody,
Chris
Stephen
Broussard?
A.
Yeah.
covered high schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is
Yeah.
the path.
But in today's media though, it's shifting, right? You're seeing the podcasters, the YouTube guys. Like
Yeah, a
how
lot of
does
those
that
guys.
fit into?
Yeah, a lot of those guys. It just depends. I think that a I'm down on people who don't do homework, research, who aren't critical, who aren't willing to push back. Like a lot of athletes have podcasts. A lot of them I think are the worst. I really do. I'm not kidding you. And people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're just jealous of them because they got this and that and viewers." And that. No, it's because they allow people to say anything. They aren't willing to challenge somebody on their take. It's not enough just to have a take. Always ask yourself when you watch these things, based on what? And most of the athletes are all compromised. Okay, so they have guests on, they're friends, fraternity brothers, they have the same agents, they run in the same circles, they went to the same schools. So they're not going to be critical with each other. Is that who you really want to get information from? Where a guy comes on and they're conning you. They're a lot of people, they'll come on my show and they'll get mad at me because I'll ask the questions that the fans want to hear. Like you
Right.
don't have to answer it. You could tell me to go to hell, Rob. No, I'm not answering that. That's fine. But I'm still going to ask you the question. And I think that's the part that I don't like about, if you're going to do this, do it right. Just do it right. Do some research. Push back. Ask them to explain themselves. When they have an opinion that they throw out, ask them one simple question. Based on what? If you want to sit here and say that Kobe Bryant is the greatest player of all time, based on what? Make your case and argument so I can hear it. Oh, well, he was just a dog. He was a killer. He had the Mamba mentality. That's what, but they're not telling you anything. Do you
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's okay to have an opinion on something, but
I blame the
based
viewers
on
though.
what?
I blame the viewers though, because the
No,
viewers, the reason why is because they're getting the views. So clearly the viewers, the market is speaking. We like this
no.
watered down content. This,
But here's where I disagree. And I get the athletes, they already have they're preaching to the choir. If you're a former NBA player, people know their name, so they get their podcast or whatever. But they don't get what they really want. And I'm gonna tell you why, because team websites like DetroitPistons.com, nobody's going there to get the real information because they know that the people there work for the team. So are they going to write bad stuff about the players or the coach? No. right? So you kind of know that. Same thing with some of these players. The only thing is that they just have a higher profile to start. But I get people all the time who listen to our radio show who complain about not getting what they consider the real story. If you look on my mentions, a lot of times on my stuff, the thing that I appreciate, or when I get stopped in the street or the airport all over the country, is they say, "Thanks, Rob, for being real and telling the truth." Like they get it. A lot of people understand that a lot of these guys are not on the up and up, and they're not trained journalists, and they're not
I
digging
think
into information.
yeah, I'm with you,
I think
man.
there's a place
I know
for
we got
that.
to rape. Yeah,
Right.
I hear you. And it for sure is. And I think you would be perfect for that. I just, my out of curiosity as we wrap up, like you working with Fox, are you contractually not able to do your own stream show on YouTube, or how does that work?
Yeah. No, I would probably I probably could do something. I mean, they obviously we have a Fox Sports YouTube channel and most of the information. I'm just really focused in on the Odd Couple. I mean, this is our 7th year. Our show's doing really well, um, and I put all my energy into that right now. And I know other people have branched out and they got a show, TV show, and they're still doing their own YouTube. At some
Right.
point, you know what I mean. At some point, that would be cool.
Yeah,
Maybe a
that'd be dope to see you.
different kind of show. But I
Yeah.
would love to talk to people about real topics, real issues, have
Yeah.
people answer some questions. That's all. It's not the end of the world. I'm not trying to bite your head off or make you look foolish, but just answer some real questions. And I think I think there's a reason 60 Minutes is still on. You know what I mean? Like after 50 years on television, because they're not just doing surfacey, local news. Hey, it's cold outside. Let's go to Home Depot and get a shovel. It might snow. Like those aren't stories. That's filling time. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That's not a
Well,
news story.
it's
Oh, it's
been a
snowing
pleasure
in
having you.
Detroit in December.
Yeah.
Oh, the breaking news. We got breaking news. Snow is on the way in Metro Detroit. That's breaking news in December?
Don't curse us with that, man. Please. I don't want to
No, I'm
hear
sorry.
that. Rob, it's been a pleasure, man. Well, just to finish up, like, what are you currently working on outside of the Odd Couple? Just kind of give us a rundown on that and what times and slots you're on the Odd Couples, just kind of so people can follow you and check out
Yeah.
your content.
The Odd Couple's on 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on Fox Sports Radio, Sirius XM channel 83, the iHeartRadio app, all that. But I got other projects coming along. Started the Black Sports Writers Hall of Fame at North Carolina A&T. Our first induction class is coming up in 2025.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. Just want to honor our own people for what they've done in this business, writers and editors. And also, I work on KMBC here in Los Angeles on a football TV show, which is pretty cool and neat every week after Sunday Night Football. So
Okay.
maybe hoping to expand. I think you saw the clip. That's from that show.
Okay.
So hoping to do, yeah, that'll be pretty funny. I know you laugh pretty good.
Yeah, that was
Um,
good.
yeah, so stuff like that. And you can check me out on all social medias. Rob Parker, MLB Bro is my handle. And you can check out my baseball website. We have a partnership with Major League Baseball. We only cover Black baseball players. It's called MLBBro.com. Tremendous. Started it 5 years ago with 14 people. Now we have a staff of 70 young Black brothers and sisters from all over the country. Young people have written me asking me to teach them how to cover Major League Baseball. One of the greatest things I ever did, give our people a chance to tell stories, write stories, make content, come out to the ballpark, learn how to be baseball writers. And it's been an honor for me to launch that. And for Major League Baseball to partner with us, they don't have to do that. I told you before. Major League
Yep.
Baseball is an $11 billion industry. They sell 70 million baseball tickets every year. And they looked at our site for a couple of years and said, hey, we want to be a part of this, and joined in.
That's
So,
what's up.
yeah, it's one of the best things I ever did in my career.
Now your Twitter account seems to be hacked. Did you
Yeah, it
have a
got hacked.
new
It got
one?
hacked. So the old one, the FS1, is hacked. So it's Rob Parker, MLB Bro. That's the correct
Rob
one.
Parker. All right.
MLB
Cool.
Bro. Okay?
There'll be a link in the description of this video, ladies and gents. Make sure you hit that like button, share this video, and check you later, man. Thanks for coming
Always,
on, Rob.
my man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I know we've been trying to get this to happen. We'll do it again when I got some other big news for you. All right?
For sure. All right, bro.
Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, streaming from the D, knowing what the show, indicators are on point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro, I rock it.